jokers out there. I thought I would jump on and make a quick video with the unfortunate news of Travis Kelce's injury. He hyperextended his knee in practice, and it's likely he is not going to be available for Thursday night football given the timeline. More looking probably at a week 2 or 3 return. So already the season hasn't even officially kicked off, and the fantasy football community is in a tizzy, to the point that my wife texted me to be like, hey, are you okay? Do you have a lot of Travis Kelce shares this year? And I've joked before, and I made the joke with her again that no, actually, that community for me, I lived there for a long time. It was a great place to live, but unfortunately, the neighborhood was gentrified. I was priced out of the neighborhood, and I was forced to relocate and find a new home. So for me, that was a lot of Mark Andrews this year. I also took a lot of just waiting in general and taking a combination of either Pat Freiermuth or Evan Ingram and a handful of other guys. So I really don't have a lot of Travis Kelce this year. I just have my one big dynasty share where luckily I have my number one replacement that I'll be giving to you guys off this list. So we'll get right into things. I'm here to help you out this season. So I just looked through Megalo Bowl and my $2,000 leagues, just checking out the waiver list to kind of see who was available at tight end, kind of pretending if I was the Travis Kelce owner and I'm now staring down the barrel of having to literally pick up my week 1 playoff waivers. I can tell you the number one person that I would be targeting is Hunter Henry. You look at the fact that Jonnu Smith is no longer there. Mike Gesicki is a little bit nicked up. So Hunter Henry is the main tight end start for New England. It's gross, but he is also a primary red zone option. And I could definitely see him catching a touchdown in a competitive game at home against the Eagles. So to me, he has touchdown upside. He's a starting tight end. He's a viable play that I'm going to be sliding into my dynasty lineup in place of Travis Kelce, assuming Kelce is not playing. And I think that's the number one person that I would be targeting on the waiver wire in terms of a viable spot start for that first week. The next guy that I would be looking at would be Cade Otton. I think with Mike Evans having that I can't remember if it was, no, it's his groin. With Mike Evans, it's the groin injury. Now, it's only grade 1. He is probably going to be available, but he may be somewhat limited. And if that's the case, I think Cade Otton could see a couple more targets. That would kind of basically make Mike Evans more of a decoy, making Chris Godwin the 1 and Cade Otton probably the 2 in terms of the passing targets. And Baker Mayfield has shown in the past the ability to effectively use a tight end, and Cade Otton's been widely overlooked. So he's just generally available still on waiver wires. So for me, it's Hunter Henry 1, Cade Otton 2. And if I'm in a deeper league now, and assuming that those guys are gone, the next guy I'm looking for is Noah Fant. Completely forgotten. Once a fantasy darling. Noah Fantastic. He's with the Seattle Seahawks. So the fact that JSN will not be there week 1 and available bodes well for Noah Fant as essentially the third passing option behind DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He was actually sneaky good last year. It's tight end, so it's gross, but he did crack top 25, so he had spot start games, and 2 of those games came against the Los Angeles Rams. Both times last year that they played the Rams, Noah Fant had 4 receptions in both games, and in one of those games he had a touchdown. So if I'm in a real desperation mode, so for example, now 16-man dynasty where I have Travis Kelce, so even in that league, it's so bad that Noah Fant's not even available on waivers and never has been to me. So that's where it's you have to have already had your backup. But in a normal dynasty league, it is possible. that Noah Fant is available, or you know that you could go see that manager and maybe kick over a 4th or 3rd round pick to get your spot start for week 1. So Noah Fant would be potentially a target in deeper leagues where you know those first guys that I mentioned weren't available. And in the same vein and idea, I would also look for Isaiah Likely. Granted, he's the backup clearly behind Mark Andrews. However, they are facing the Houston Texans, so I could see a world where if the Ravens get out far enough ahead, they're not going to want to leave Mark Andrews in the whole game because I think he is a little bit nicked up already, you know, from training camp or whatever. Now, he's ready to play from all the reports that I've seen because I'm very heavily invested in Mark Andrews this year. So I am expecting him to play week 1, but I would not be completely shocked if, you know, like I said, if they're up 3 scores, they may not need Mark Andrews very much, and I could see Isaiah Likely stepping in and actually having a big week 1. So in a situation again where it's a very deep league, if Isaiah Likely is floating out on waivers, you know, 14-man plus leagues for redraft, you know, or 12-man plus for dynasty, again, or if I'm maybe just looking to kick over a 4th or 3rd round pick or something not that expensive to buy a spot start for 1 week from another manager, Isaiah Likely would be a target of mine. And then finally, to wrap it up, because you got to go with 5, right? Just makes sense to have 5. Hayden Hurst. I'm not that big on Hayden Hurst, so I don't really super believe in this one. But the fact is, with the Panthers having Bryce Young as a rookie quarterback, he tends to target more of that middle zone as opposed to going very short and very deep. He's kind of targeting that 8 to 15 yard range. That's where Hayden Hurst lives. It's also where Adam Thielen lives. So I do think Adam Thielen is going to eat up a lot of those targets. But I could see Hayden Hurst kind of having, you know, a gimmicky 5 for 25 and a touchdown, enough to get you there kind of thing. It's really not one I want to rely on. He's never been, you know, a high producer in his career, and he's now 30 years old with the Panthers. Again, this is very bottom of the barrel for me, but Hayden Hurst is widely available. So if you are completely desperate, that would be, you know, the last grasp. Like at that point, it's like it's Hayden Hurst or taking the 0 in that spot. Like you can't really get that much worse. There's a couple other guys, you know, maybe Adam Troutman out there if you're a real believer in that. You don't think Greg Dulcich is the guy. They did let go of Albert O in Denver, and unfortunately they've had a lot of injuries at the wide receivers. So that's just another name to kind of throw out there. Trey McBride, if he's available for the Cardinals. Zach Ertz, you know, is going to run his old bones out. But you never know what's going to happen with Zach Ertz. And you could actually see Trey McBride even just take over, just, you know, from a youth and health perspective. So that's, again, another one. Not one that I'm necessarily wanting to start or anything, but just guys I'm keeping my eyes on. And then the only other one that I was intrigued by, and I didn't have him in the list, was Michael Mayer. And it's because I just don't know what to make of that. Hunter Renfrow has been left for dead, but has had a good training camp and has had some nice little reports coming out of training camp. So they do have already Renfrow, Jacoby Myers, and Devontae Adams ahead of him. You would think in terms of you know, passing target and priority, but if he does show out, I could see Michael Mayer being a hot pickup because he's kind of the rookie tight end that's been, you know, left by the wayside and forgotten. The hotness of Dalton Kincaid and Sam Laporta have very much outshined Michael Mayer, who was actually once seen as like potentially the best tight end in this class, kind of like a Jason Witten clone. So he's definitely someone that you want to keep your eyes on. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate and, you know, wish you the best of luck if you happen to be a Travis Kelce manager, and catch you all on the flip side.